Hey guys, have you noticed something funny going on with fuel prices lately? Do you feel like the petrol stations are taking motorists for a ride? Well, you're not alone. Let's chat about what's going on and why it matters to all of us who own and drive cars.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
So the Competition and Markets Authority, also known as the CMA, has been keeping a close eye on fuel retailers. And let me tell you, they're not too happy. Why? Well, it turns out we might have been paying more than we should for our fuel. But you probably thought that already, right? And I don't know about you, but I'm not very happy about that. The gap between what it costs to get fuel and what we are paying at the pump has been growing. Basically, it's like if the ingredients of your favorite chocolate bar became scarce and expensive, so the price of the chocolate bar goes up. Fair enough. CMA is working on making fuel prices clearer for us. They've got this price comparison tool running at some of these petrol stations, which of course is a step in the right direction. Pumpwatch, as it's called, was announced back in July. And it was predicted that it could save drivers as much as £4.50 per tank of fuel. I guess the idea is that we'll all be able to use the app to find the cheapest fuel available in our area. Now, there are apps that do that already, but they usually rely on users actually inputting that data, whereas the idea here is that the retailers themselves would directly update the prices. However, there's some big names in the game, like Shell and Motorway, that haven't been super cooperative with sharing their data. So this makes it harder for the CMA to, well, really understand what's going on in terms of prices. Now, the CMA's Sarah Cardell pointed out the underlying data shows a mixed picture in terms of what is driving this. Well, I'd say that forget about mixed picture, they're not getting the full picture because not all the fuel stations are playing along, surely. Nonetheless, the CMA has already got a price comparison thing going on at around 40% of fuel stations. So that clearly is a step in the right direction towards making sure that we are not paying any more than we should be. Now, the real takeaway from all of this is kind of what we've all suspected, that fuel retailers are ripping us off. And what happens is they're so quick to put up prices when international oil barrel prices go up, but they're very slow to reduce prices at the pump when the market goes back down again. So going back to our chocolate bar analogy, it's like if the cost of the ingredients went back down again, but the price you paid for your chocolate bar still stayed high and actually continued to creep upwards. That's kind of what's been going on. Simon Williams from the RAC said, it's very disappointing that major fuel retailers are still taking far bigger margins than they have done in the past. And even supermarkets, for example, they had lower margins in the summer, but the RAC's latest data shows that they are now also taking very large margins. Williams also pointed out that even though retailers are publishing prices for app makers, it hasn't really helped to improve competition or achieve lower prices. In fact, he believes that the situation is worse than ever. The wholesale fuel market prices apparently have dropped, but the prices at the pumps, well, they're still falling way, way too slowly. Now, Howard Cox from Fairfuel UK, and also standing for the next mayoral election in London, as usual, he's not shy about speaking up either. So he said, the fuel supply chain continues to ride roughshod over drivers. It beggars belief that the government have not got Pumpwatch fully in operation. And he's implying that perhaps it's useful for the government not to move too quickly on it. Because he says, maybe it's the huge amount of extra VAT being generated for the exchequer. Motorists and CMA say Pumpwatch is necessary and way overdue, but the Treasury and the Secretary of State of Energy seems to be too scared to actually make it happen. He continues, had it been in place, inflation would be much lower, more disposable income would be available for motorists, and business costs would be considerably reduced. It's a no-brainer and it's popular with voters. Hey, you're right there, Howard. Well, we're talking about a system that could really help keep fuel prices fair. That's the Pumpwatch system. So, yeah, guys, come on. Let's get Pumpwatch rolled out ASAP. This is a message to the government, and at least try to cut some of the rocketing costs that keep hitting the UK's beleaguered motorists over and over again.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these three little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.